Good morning, Saberians. Jimmy here. It is 7:30 in the morning here in the UK at the time of filming this. My dog is resting downstairs, my partner's asleep. So I haven't got any natural lighting either. The sun has not risen yet, so you may have an orange yellowy tinge to the screen, but sorry, that's just the way it is at this time of year. I have the new Survivors in, which is awesome. I've been very excited for this run. This is the awesome box art by Christian Cruz. Make sure you can see all that. Beautiful. It's based on the background off the poster. He does amazing work. Speaking of amazing work by Christian, I also have Shane's and Christian's work mat. This is a replica of what we see in the Survivor workbench. This is awesome. When I was getting my Survivors, I had to message Shane. I was just like, please, can I have one of those as well? These are awesome. Really, really nice. Goes really well with the new Survivors. Go get one. Right, so in this video, I'll be going over the single hilt configuration. I will not be filming the Crossguard configuration as well. Whether I'd merge the two videos, stick it in one video on YouTube, or I do it as two separate videos on YouTube, I haven't decided yet. Let's just see how I get on. I'm going to remove everything from the box, and you might go say to me, you can already see some flaws in my Survivor. It's because I've already set it up in the wrong configuration, so I can run you through how to do certain things. So there we go, it's already got fingerprints all over it as well. Getting the box out the way so we can run over the brand new hilt. So in the box you get your Survivor hilt, you get two Emitter greeblies which will sit right here, and you get two body greeblies which will sit right here. Put those on at the very end, post your weathering, post your install, put those on right at the end. You do not need to put them on at the beginning. If you do, you're just going to have to take them off, and these can be a bit fiddly to get back off. You only need to put them on with some double-sided 3M tape. You need to use super glue, especially for these. If you find your clocking eventually goes out of orientation, these ones, you'll want to be able to just peel them off quite easily, and you can do that with 3M tape. But lucky enough, they don't just fall off with 3M tape. You do have to put a bit of sideways pressure on it. Right, now you can see my emitter and my pommel are not clocked to the body, this is a very dramatic example. I don't think the emitters will come in not clocked to your body, but I'll walk you through what to do. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the grip and the pommel. So we're now left with the upper part of the hilt. What I'm then going to do is want to remove the blade plug. Excuse me. That's exactly what you want to hear on a YouTube video. It's me sneezing. Right, first thing I do is I remove the blade plug, like so, and then I'm looking at it and trying to familiarise myself. You want to remove this silver ring at the top. This is what is keeping the emitter fins on. Now mine's already a little bit loose, so I can make this video a little bit shorter for you. But if you struggle to get your emitter ring off, what I recommend is getting some double-sided tape, flipping it over so you're folding it, and doing this. If you put finger pressure on there, all you're doing is engaging the threads a bit more, and it might become very hard to undo. This is the best method I have found, and equally your fingers will just slip over that polished finish, which is not what you want, to the point where it gets loose, and then you might be able to get a little bit of grip on it and unthread it by hand, like so. Remove your emitter fins. This one's nice and tight. There we go. So here's an upgrade from the Gen 1. The Gen 1, we had an issue where the factory ignored my tolerances on my drawings and did what they wanted to do. which created an issue. It was on this emitter sleeve up here that they ignored the tolerances, and so Shane had to point that back out to the factory and they had to remake some, but also they didn't follow the tolerances on the emitter fins very well. But it was all easily resolved with an application of tape. Not that I like that, but it was easily resolved. So these are upgraded. These are stainless steel, and these have these panel pieces held on by 2 small screws. If you find it's too tight when inserting it and taking it off, you can loosen these off a tad. I do not recommend loosening off a lot. The last thing you want it to do is fall off the side of your body. But yes, you can control the tightness with those as well. Right. So clocking this uses my same clocking design from the Gen 1, which is if you grip the copper ring and unthread it along with the emitter, there you go, you loosen everything off, so then you can rotate it. It's on a thread. There's a small O-ring in here. Do not lose the O-ring. The O-ring is the most important part to making sure this gets nice and tight. Find the orientation that you want it to be in. So I need to So I'm going to put it back here. Right, this is the way I want it to be, just about. And then what you do is you rotate the copper ring down to the point where you can feel it clamp up. Just a little bit of back and forth. A little bit more, and then you can tighten down the entire thing. There we have it, nice and tight, clocked, awesome, great. So whilst we're here, we have exposed 4 grub screws. And these 4 grub screws are used for inserting your fixed part of your chassis. So what I'll do is I'll remove my clocking sleeve. On yours, when you undo these, you have to undo all 6 grub screws. I've gone ahead just to save a little bit of time. Remove that, and we'll come to clocking the grip in just a moment. Once you've installed your fixed part of your chassis, so you've got your switch there, you've got a fin neck PCB up here with a pin side here, and you've got the stock NPXL 2-switch PCB, rotary PCB up here as well. It's all installed. Plonk that on top of your clocking sleeve, and then drop your upper body over the top until it drops all the way. Obviously making sure the switch engages nicely. That's nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch up 2 of the grub screws just to make sure that doesn't drop out on me whilst I'm doing the rest of this, so I don't have to hold it together. And then the bottom 2 grub screws pinch on your print. So just bear in mind that you're pinching on print. You're not pinching on any metal parts, you're pinching on your chassis print here. So don't go too nuts, you don't want to destroy your print, you just want to pinch up enough to make sure it doesn't rotate. Make sure it grabs onto that rather nicely. There we go. That's why it's important to make sure you clock your emitter before you start inserting your chassis. I'm just testing it, making sure I'm as far as I can go. Because if you try and clock this now, after you've done up those grub screws, you're going to ruin your print, because now it's grabbing onto your print. If you try turning this, you might destroy your print. So, I've still got some nice switch engagement here. Lovely jubbly. I have my emitter PCB print here. Actually, what I'm going to do first is get this sleeve, emitter sleeve, back down. Grab the blade retention grub screw, stick it on the end of your Allen key and just thread that to a point where it will stop it'll go through the hole on the emitter sleeve and stop it rotating as you're doing this. I tend to find doing it this way up sometimes is easier. I can feel a nice bit of tension there, so make sure you do not bend your pogo pins, but when you put your finger down on your emitter PCB and push down, you should also be able to feel the fin neck PCB pogo pins spring back and forth as well. When you do, compress the whole lot nice and gently and then thread up the top 2 grub screws which pinch onto your PCB holder. That's what I just did. Just got myself confused. Yes, it was. There we go. And that will pinch onto that bit of print up there, holding the connection between the MPXL PCBs. Grand. Okie dokie. Whilst I'm here, I'm going to give it a test run, make sure it all works. So you've got your new chassis, or your V1 chassis will still work in the same twist and click mechanism from the V1s. Everything is cross compatible. So here we go, we flick that on.
We ran into some trouble on our last job.
So we have 28mm speaker, OLED screen, 18650 battery, crystal chamber with a motorized crystal accent, Bluetooth unit, Profi B3 is what I've installed this one with, and the flat side of the MPXL 2-switch rotary PCB. This is the brand new crystal chamber design for the V2s. Twist and click. And huzzah, we have it working. Button works. And we're getting some lights from our emitter PCB, which I'm using the brand new stock V4s. Twist and click out. There we go. Okay, awesome. I'm just going to close the window now. Just letting some fresh air in. Grand. So we know that works. That's awesome. Click that off. What we can do now is, if we're happy with our emitter clocking, which we are, we can put the fins back down. And it should be very satisfying to get these back down. Yes, very nice. And then with our emitter ring, bring that back down. This is tricky. I'm not going to lie to you, this is tricky, and this requires a little bit of patience, but if you just keep on turning it gently whilst it's sitting on top of the emitter, you'll find the threads catch, and then you can start tightening it down. Oh, I thought I had it back there, just for a split second. Oh, keep on rotating. This is the least exciting part of this video. Aha! Grand. Alright, caught the threads. Threading it down. If you find you're starting to lose grip because of the polished finish, what you do is you grab your magical bit of tape wherever I put it. I'll grab a new one. Fold it in half. And you just do this. A little bit fiddly. There we go. Whatever gets the job done. I can see that turning rather nicely. But I haven't actually threaded it down. I got ambitious. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah. As I say, this is the fiddliest bit to do. Thought I had it as well. Right, there we go. Was I turning it the wrong way with the tape? Maybe I was. That's definitely caught. Maybe I was turning it the wrong way. Maybe I was being a bit of a div. Ooh, I think it's caught. Forgive me if my balding head enters frame. I'm just trying to see if I can see what's going on. And that's gone nice and tight. Beautiful. And then if you get any sticky marks on it, you can just wipe them off with your fingers. Shh, don't tell anybody. Right, grand. So we know the emitter's working, we know that's all clocked up here. And then we've got to clock the grip, which I've already pinched a grub screw down on the clocking sleeve for the grip, and as we can see, it's very off. And what you do is you loosen up all of your grub screws. Make sure you do loosen up all of the grub screws that retain the clocking sleeve, and then you rotate this to where you want it to be. I want it to be there, and then you pinch them all back down. This time you're pinching onto an aluminium part, so don't stress if you're going a bit tighter than what you did on the emitter, but whatever you do, do not go wrenching down on these grub screws, because the last thing you want to do is ruin your threads. But then this should be job done. And then beautiful. I always, when I do this, I always leave it slightly anti-clockwise, so then when I pinch these up and then turn it as hard as I usually would, I usually find it finds its correct place, and that's exactly what's happened here. Right, now let's get the chassis in.
I'll take the Inquisitor. Watch my back.
Twist and click. You can feel that nice click, and now that's not going anywhere. Thread the pommel on and the grip, and let's get that blade retention screw in as well. So I designed the blade plug to stop exactly where your emitter PCB stops, so it should always just go level. There we go. And then that is awesome. And the weight of the stainless steel emitter fins at the top feels absolutely amazing. I'm very, very happy with this. Turns out beautifully. This was long worth the wait. It took a minute, but it's here, and there we have it. And then get all your greeblies stuck on in your own time. Remember guys, I don't recommend super glue. I rather love 3M tape, because then at least you can remove it if you need to get access to anything. But there we have it. Nice and easy. Well, I found it easy. There we go guys. Right, yes, I'm going to cut here. I can't decide whether this will be the end of one video and then I'll do another one to go over the crossguard configuration, passing your wires through small holes. If that'll be a separate video or be a continuation on, I don't know. I'll say goodbye now and I'll see you in a moment. Bye. Okay, we're back and we'll give this a blast. So hopefully you've watched my previous video of me installing the brand new Gen 2 Survivor hilt. This video is going to be going over the Crossguard kit and installation. Excuse me. So this is going to be a little bit more complicated. I will show some passing of wires through holes, and then I will cut and I'll come back and I'll show you what I've soldered up in between videos, but I'm not going to do the soldering on the video. I already find magical ways to extend my videos already when I don't need to. So standard Survivor. I haven't attached the greeblies yet, they're still in the box. So this is a brand new Gen 2. Please note the Crossguard kits will work on the Gen 1s as well. The sizes are exactly the same. So we have the Crossguard add-on, the Crossguard pommel, the 2 small Crossguard blades as well. Please be careful of these, they're quite delicate. And we'll deal with that for the moment, because that's the Crossguard kit, that bit, and those 2. And then we'll go into add-ons, further add-ons later on, and all the chassis and such. So, right, so the goal here is to keep the grip, keep the emitter, get rid of the main body, get rid of the pommel. Okay, so put those over there, out of my way. First things first, take the grip off, take the pommel away. We don't need the pommel, we can go over here, grip can stay up here. Now we need to get rid of the body, so we want to keep the emitter, so I'm going to unthread that. It's a long thread, there we go. And then we also want to keep the clocking sleeve. Now the Crossguard add-on kit does not come with grub screws in place here. You'll need to take the ones from this body here and put them in there. So let's start doing that. So a few notes about the Crossguard kit is that it's a 2-button setup. However, when I say 2-button, you've got a button on both sides. It's mirrored both sides. You can, when you have yours installed, when you get yours installed, you can choose when you wire it up to have either one button act as an aux and one as the power button, or you can do what I do, keep it all as a 1-button setup, wire both buttons to the B1 pad on the stock MPXL 2-switch rotary PCB, and then use the B2 position to wire in a second data line, which will be going to my Crossguard pieces. So then I can program my Crossguards as separate blades to do different things to the main blade. You have an option. I know some people love a 2-button setup and that's what they might roll with. My personal preference is to have my Crossguards as a different data line. So all of my personal chassis I've wired up with the second data line going to the B2 position on the pads. And I'm staying with the 1-button setup, but wiring both the switches into the 1-button setup. So it won't matter which way I'm holding the hilt, both buttons will perform the exact same action. There we go. Take the clocking sleeve away, remove the body, we don't need that. The great thing is, if you've already installed this side, you can keep the installed bit of the chassis up here within this part, and once you've installed this crossguard section here, if you want to swap between the two for any reason, you can basically just leave the installed part of the chassis in here. Right, so I'm just going to show you how to assemble this, which is very much the same method as the plain Survivor. So it's very simple, and then I'll go walk you back through, disassemble it and walk you back through installing the chassis into it. So same deal as before. You have your emitter piece here, which you then just thread on. Another note about the Survivor Crossguard kit: they're very expensive to make. There's lots of small parts here, very small detailed parts, in order to gain as much accuracy as possible. And it ends up being quite expensive. And one concern we had was, is it going to be too expensive? So I'm just trying to get my clocking just right, like so. That's my clocking sorted for the emitter. Fold this back in. So my payment for designing these was very minimal, and exactly what it was 2 Crossguard kits, and the price Shane sold these for is actually very good. He doesn't make a lot of money on these Crossguard kits. It was an opportunity that we discussed and said there's not going to be something this detailed as the Crossguard kit to come out unless we do it. But the expense of it was very expensive, so he's not making a lot of money on these Crossguard add-ons. I didn't make any money other than having them myself. Basically all that he's getting is time and labour into organising, packing and such like. And I was so desperate to get these on the market, so we basically kind of did this as a freebie. It didn't cost, we didn't charge as much as we should have for these, but they're already so expensive it was hard to justify, and we wanted it to happen. We didn't want it to not happen, and we had some hesitation. That's why we tried to get some inquiries and a list together first before we actually did anything. And lucky enough, the interest was high enough that it was worthwhile doing. But yeah, at the end of the day, this was something we just wanted to bring to the community to show what we can do. A bit of innovation here. I see 89 have come out with theirs, which is nowhere near as detailed or as accurate as what it could be. I'm not saying they didn't do their jobs well. I like 89 hilts, but this is the most accurate you'll find, and the most detail as well. So your new pommel can thread onto the bottom of the grip here, which is very neat. I like that. It's a nice smaller crossguard, or if you just happen to be some of the lucky people that have the quick detach coupler that we designed for joining 2 hilts together. It was not designed with the intent of the Crossguard kit, it just happened to work out. It does go with the Crossguard kit. You can thread that on down at the bottom. Like so. And then thread your Crossguard pommel onto that. And then we have a full length Crossguard hilt. Now this is awesome. I assembled this one last night. I was too excited to wait to do the video and then have it, and I couldn't put it down. This is amazing. This is an awesome bit of kit. I've seen some people being very kind about how awesome it is. Somebody even said hilt of the year. That's very kind, very gracious, but it has turned out to be absolutely awesome. I am so chuffed with it. As much as I love being part of designing and engineering this, I'm also a fan, and I just want the coolest item there is. And this, I know some people don't like the crossguard for the Survivor, and I'll be honest, it doesn't make much sense having the crossguard down here when your blade's up here, but you won't have a bit of kit like this on the market anywhere else, at least until I design something else along this lines. But this is awesome. This is amazing. So there we have it. There's a fully assembled crossguard, and then the side blades fit in. Now they have a little PCB holder here, very small. Be careful with these that have a little key on them to make sure you fit them in correctly. Now I noticed when I received mine that my PCB holders inside here, it does come with PCB holders, were inserted one at 180 degrees the wrong way, so I ended up flipping one of them and I disassembled it to check it. So you may have noticed I've just put one in the wrong way up compared to the other one. You've got little grub screw blade retention screws on the underside. Again, guys, be careful. These are very small. Don't wrench the grub screws up too hard. You could destroy something. And there we have it. And then these just about fold in to go up the sides if you want to keep them there, or you can remove them, undo your grub screws, slide them out. But then you've got a nice click as well to get them in position. And if you really wanted to keep them in a stationary position but you didn't want them at 90 degrees, you can tilt them up at whatever angle, tighten down these black screws either side as hard as you can without destroying them, and that will clamp it and hold it in place nice and stiff. You'll still be able to fold it in, but it will just get a lot stiffer. But there we have it. How cool is that? Got some nice copper detailing on the back. These are stainless steel as well, so you weatherers out there, get your heat torches over these. But that's so cool. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the video, and I'm going to come back with this disassembled with some chassis bits, and we'll walk over passing wires through into certain areas and soldering it together, and hopefully having a installed crossguard. Right, hold fire, I'll be right back. Right, excuse me, I've skipped a few steps just to save a little bit of time. I've disassembled everything that you have seen me disassemble before in a previous video or previous in this video. So I've also disassembled one side of the crossguard set to save time. What we're going to do, I'm going to walk you through how to disassemble this side. So, got a blade retention grub screw here, very small. Do not lose it. Unscrew it, catch it, stick it to the side, out the way. Make sure you do that first, please. And then you can unscrew these black screws here. Which are very, very small. There we go. They've got a slight bit of knurling on the side of them, so to help you get a grip on them, to tighten them up, or to unthread them. There we go. And then you can, it's tight, you can slide that one out now, but in the shield you have to wiggle out. Okay, grand. Stick that to the side, and then you should have a PCB holder in here. There we have it, very small. This is an installer's nightmare, but it has to be in order to pull this off. There's no other way to do it to gain this much accuracy over this. I could have made these crossguards a lot bigger, but then the scale would be off, and then it would be a lot easier to wire up, but it wouldn't look right at all whatsoever. So we deal with what we can. Whilst I'm here, I tend to just check screws. Sometimes the factory don't nip them up as hard as I like them to, so I just nip that up there. The ball catches are self-retained. These are stainless steel, these hinges here as well. I went for very robust materials. This is stainless steel as well. Robust materials to make sure this lasts as long as possible, since it's so small. So just check your screws. Your spring plungers here, your ball plungers are self-retained, so you don't have to worry about those dropping out. You can leave that alone. If you're going to weather it and you're going to take these out, please bear in mind, do it over a bowl or something that can catch the parts. You got 2 small ball bearings per side with 2 small springs, 2 screws. Pull it all out. When you pull this out, you'll find that all the copper detailing up here will loosen up as well, and these parts here will also drop out as well. So just brace for that. Do it over a bowl, something that you can catch it all in. Don't do it over your carpet, for God's sake, or on your bed. I know some of you do. That's how I started when I was about 14 doing airsoft repairs. I was doing it on my bed with a great big wooden plank. Yeah, that was silly. Do it over a nice surface, but make sure you can catch those parts. Right, passing wire time. So this is where I can completely embarrass myself on the video. This is the fixed part of the chassis. It looks very similar to the standard Survivor one, except it's got 2 ports either side to pass your positive, negative and data line through both sides. You've still got everything that you had on your previous one. You've got your thin neck PCB here with your pin side. You've got the stock 2-button MPXL rotary PCB pin side here, and then you've got 2 switches here and here. One thing I'd like you to note is I've lowered the face on purpose because the switches here, you may have noticed it on the game, you may not have, sit ever so slightly higher than the center of the standard Survivor, ever so slightly higher, which means we have to raise the switches, but to keep things compatible, it still uses the same emitter. It would have been very easy to trim the emitter, but then it wouldn't. None of this would be compatible with the V1s. So the only thing you have to do when you glue these in, your switches, your 1.5mm switches, glue them in, trim the top legs prior to gluing them in, and as you put them on the chassis, push them as far down as they can go as well. So make sure you trim those legs. Last thing you want is it arcing out on the top here and you getting random activations of any kind. So please bear that in mind. So this is where the fun begins. I have left my wires extra long on purpose. You can always trim your wires later, but it's a lot harder to add wires onto wires when you've already made them too short. You can tell I've made these overly long, way overly long. This might be a little bit excessive, but it is what it is at the end of the day. I'd rather do this than have them too short. So what you're going to do, and you might not be able to see me do it correctly on camera because I'm going to be doing it so I can do it, is you're going to pass, I left the negative wire, so it can be any wire, it's not, you don't have to worry which wire it is. I left one of the wires super long, so when I pass it through I can definitely catch one wire, and I have a pair of tweezers with me. Okay, so let's give that a go. Lucky enough I can use the pockets in the side of the hilt to also catch whereabouts the wire is. Oh, I had it there for a moment. There we go. Right. Oh, I don't need tweezers just yet. Look at that. There we go. One side. What I'm going to do to make sure it doesn't drop back through, so I'm just going to pass it through one of these holes here, if I can. There we go. Like that. Just makes it harder for it to drop back out if it drops back out whilst I'm doing the other side. Might not need those tweezers after all. This is the first time I'm doing this. I didn't get to see the sample because it was the hilt itself was a copy of the first gen. There was no need for me to receive a hilt sample. Shane knew exactly what he was looking at, but then the Crossguard kit I didn't get a chance to have a look at the sample from the factory. So I'm doing this for the very first time, which can either be, it will either come off really well on video or make me look like a complete twat. There we go. When Shane installed the hilt sample from factory, he said it was very difficult. I said, I think I have a method to passing these wires through. Here we go. I do design everything to be installable, but this is a very tricky one. Right, here we go. Right. Make sure we got our hip sides the right way up. Okay, so I can take this one back out the hole that I put it through. By leaving the wires extra long, I can do this. Okay. Just doing a bit at a time. You've got to get the tall part of the chassis through the hole as well. Try not to let the wires snag on anything as you're inserting it. Now I'm at a point here where if I don't get that top bit lined up correctly, there we go. Keep it all nice and taut. How are we doing? Is that in the right place? Don't know yet. What I might do now, insert this, because this will help you gauge how far up you are, if you're in the right place or not. Oh. I think I'm in. Am I in? It's great. Right, I can feel the plungers hitting my switches nicely. Okay, and I'm going to nip up these ones up here, as we've done on the standard Survivor. Finger tight. Stop it rotating when we do the twist and click. Okay, cool. Right. Whew. So that is as far as in as that goes. I'm just going to nip the middle ones up on the collar down here as well. It just makes sure nothing drops out during the rest of the assembly. Oh, another note I should have told you before, but hopefully you watch the video all the way through before you actually start trying this. Use the correct kind of wire. Don't use your fat silicon stuff. You're not going to pass it through. Use the stuff that you can find at Saber and Saber shops. This is 30 gauge. 30 gauge or 28. I think it's 30 gauge wire. Just make sure you don't use overly fat stuff, otherwise you might struggle to get it through the holes. You need to use the correct Saber installing wire. Okay, right. Looks funny. Here comes the even harder bit. So what you've got to do now is install these. I should have mentioned, but Lord only knows where I put it. There we go. You get PCBs with the Crossguard sets. These are very small. These have to be very small. Take your time, get the soldering done right on them. Okay. The way I'm going to install it, I think, is pin side inside the emitters and then flat side on the blades. These are very small. Please take your time when you solder these. There are some little ridges on them from when they get snapped off of the tray that they come on. So you might want to just take a file and shave a bit of those off. Take your time. Very small. But yes, they do come with them. These are PCBs that I concept designed as a model, and then Shane asked Stock Custom Works to quickly turn them into something real, and he kindly did, and they look very cool. pads are actually pretty big in the grand scheme of things. You shouldn't be crossing over solder. He's even put little symbols on them. That's awesome. I didn't notice that. Very cool. So little symbols can be used to help guide you. I personally am going to have the sides, positive and negative, and the centre one data, but you have to remember which way you're soldering it. In fact, that he's left markers on there to remind you, which is very kind. Didn't realise he did that. Very good. Right, so passing this through is tricky. Put your wires through there. Like so. And pass them through the PCB holder. Please note that the PCB holder has a little slot in it at the top, which will, when you insert it all together, the slot will go with this slot, which the slots point towards the emitter of the hilt. Okay, so my goal is to now solder that all together. And what I'm going to do, to save embarrassing myself, I'm going to cut here, come back, and hopefully have something I can show you. Please bear with, I'll be right back. Okay, something to note. I've soldered my pins up to my PCB and I've put solder on the back of the blade side PCB as well. What I have done is, when you come to file the little remnants of the snap tray, just do like a couple of swipes at a time, gentle swipes, then test fit it into the PCB holder, because that will also help retain it as well. Mine will now fit, like if I push that down very carefully with the tweezers, it will retain itself. So do that very gently, a couple of swipes at a time, then try and push it in. And when you come to solder this up, my method is get the emitter without the shield on it, bolted in, pass your wires through PCB holder, just drop it into the emitter a little bit, trim your wires as short as you need them to be, solder them to your PCB, bring your PCB holder back out and get it all inserted there. Then you can twist, if your wires are good and they're not going to snap, if you use the right wire, twist the PCB holder into the emitter with the shield on and then retain it with the screws. We'll see how that goes. Just that's a little quick note for you. Right, let's continue. Right, my PCB is soldered into my 3 wires. Hopefully see, and I've inserted my PCB into the PCB holder. So now what I'm going to do is assemble my crossguard emitter. Hello focus, where are you going? There you are. Right, so I'm going to sit back down to do this. Unthread the screw, stick it with the others. I'm going to pull my emitter PCB back here. Oh, one thing I should note to you, there's little indentations in the sides for the back end of your screws. So I'll insert PCB holder into that. Grab my shield. I'm actually wondering if I get a small grub screw in there to retain it whilst I do this bit. What have I got? What have I got? Some... what size thread is it? Can't even remember what I did. It looks like an M3. Have I got an M3 grub screw to hand? I'm sure I have. But how tall is it? Is the question. How tall is this? Is that too tall? What I might do is steal one of these ones down here. This might not work, by the way. I'm just theorizing right now. Because at one point, once you've assembled this, you'll want to twist this so the wires help themselves hold on to everything, and also it shortens this is too long. It'll help reduce the distance and the length. Cool. Yes, it's a good idea. Right, so that's holding the PCB holder in place. Put this over the top. If you want to help retain this as well, line the M2.5 grub screw up with the hole that it needs. Find your M2.5 grub screw. Here. Set that down. This is a job that requires 2 hands. Let's do that again. This is fiddly. This does require patience. If you're not dexterous and you haven't got patience, this will not go your way. I'm sorry to say. Right. Let's pull that out just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm then going to perform a twisty motion. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be super neat. You can tuck some wires in here if you need to. It's all about actually just getting it all into place. I'm going to unravel that once. Whoops. Look, if it can go wrong, I'll do it here. I'll show you how not to do it. That's the purpose, because I want you to actually be able to install yours and play with it. It's a slot. There we go. That's the purpose of putting the slot in at the top. When you put your PCB holder in, make sure it's all slotted in nicely. Right, let's try that again. Oi, oi, oi. Who designed this? What fool designed this? I know somebody will go, you've made this too difficult. Well, if you don't want the challenge, don't buy the hilt. I can be brutally honest with some people. Some people don't appreciate that. But this is a tricky one. There is no word of a lie. There we go. Right, so I've got that's in. I'm going to put a grub screw, the hinge screw in on this side. Make sure you find those threads, don't start trying to wrench it before it's actually caught, otherwise you just ruin your threads. La 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 la. Why are you fighting me? Why are you fighting with me? I have the shield up too high. There we go. Get one side in. I'm going to do that reasonably tight for the moment. Beautiful. I'm hoping when I undo the scrub screw that it's not going to undo itself. It hasn't. just need to be able to get that cross screw out, which this is a clearance hole, so yep, wonderful. Put that back there for the moment. Grab the other screw and do that up. I'm going to do something later, maybe I'll find a black bit of plastic or something I can shove over this. Honestly, I don't mind actually showing the bit of wireage, because that's the good thing about the Fallen Order hilt, is they're not opposed to showing wires. And there we go. As you can see, can you see? No, James, I'm trying to light properly. Where's my camera lens? This is a new phone, so I'm still getting used to it. PCB is in the correct orientation, locked in the correct orientation. And now we won't know if it works until I install a blade. So I think we'll do that next. Awesome. Grand. Yep, we'll do that next, install the blade, and we'll double check if it's working. Here's hoping. Pray for me. Okay, let's have a quick run through what the blade is. So you have a PCB holder here, very small, very delicate. You've got your nice frosted blade here, and you've got a bit of foam to run your pixels through to help diffuse it. It will expand, it's quite stretchy once you get your pixels in there. I recommend you don't glue the PCB holder onto the blade until you are confident everything's working. So you have to have these 3.5mm pixel strips. These are, what's the code? WS2812 strips. I'm going to put them back to back and wire them in. This will be tight as well, this will be a very tight space. Wish me luck, and we'll see how that goes. Sometimes I occasionally find these strips are missing something's not right with them. Sometimes they don't light up, sometimes, like that one's got a bad solder joint down at the base there, but I'm going to be putting my own wires on it anyway. I won't be using the ones that they supply. I'm going to take those off. But yeah, get two of these. If you find one side ain't working, sometimes these come faulty. At least that's what I found. No matter where you get them, whether you get them from a Saber shop or from AliExpress or eBay, wherever anybody goes to get these. But these are what you need. Right, I'll give this a blast. Okay, I have soldered my wires onto the new strips. And then of course these are going to sit back to back to each other to try and get some sort of equal light coming out of the sub blades. And you're wondering, well, these are going to arc out on each other if they touch. I am going to use some double-sided 3M tape cut down to size. I'll peel this off extra long if I need to, stick it on the back, trim it down to size around the strip, which you have to be super careful with, so that's why I'm using a good pair of scissors. If you're in the UK, maybe you've seen your mum have these in the drawers. These are really good, nice and sharp. But yes, this bit you've got to be careful not to damage your strip on. Okay, here is my strips with 3M tape backing them and sticking them together rather neatly. I have made them stepped, hopefully you can see that, to help reduce any shadowing, hopefully. Who knows? We'll find out soon. But then that keeps this nice and rigid as well, having those two stuck to each other. I've got an additional bit of 3M tape sticking down at the bottom here to help insulate the area, and then no 3M tape on the back side of this bit of overlap at the top here to make sure it doesn't get stuck to the foam as we're going through. At this point here, I don't know how many LEDs I need to trim. Has that gone back into focus? Yes. So let's find out. I know what you're thinking, James, you haven't got any clean surfaces. I know. I'm more than aware. So that goes down to there. I think that's a tough one. For space of wires as well, some of this is going to be sitting underneath. I think I need to trim off. Start with 3. I don't think I need to do any more than 3 per side. I've got some spares of these anyway. If I mess it up, I can always get some more. And undo a little bit of what I just did. Very carefully. Scissors. So I'm going to take off 3. Very good. Hopefully that hasn't damaged anything. Cool. Still quite close. Still quite close there. How far does this go down? It goes down all the way to that lip there, doesn't it? Of course it does. You should know this, you designed this. Tempted to do 4, you know. So I've got to bind these wires together. Yeah, let's make it 4. Made a decision, I'm going to do it. By the way, if you don't like anything I'm doing, feel free to keep your opinions to yourself. Everybody has their own way of doing things. This is my way. I'm never telling you that my way is the right way. Nobody should ever tell you their way is the right way. When it comes to this thing, some installers might discover different techniques on how to do it. I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. There are people that charge to do installs. I do not do custom installs. I don't claim I'm a super professional when it comes to doing the installs. I know what I'm doing, but I know the way I do it. Let's take some edge off a little bit. Cool. Okay, progress. And now I'm going to just make sure I can insert this down the foam with ease. Hopefully I can. It's tricky, it's quite wide. I'm wondering if I end up just lead pulling it, solder a wire to the back end and pulling them through. I think it's a case of maybe just use the tweezers to pull it through. Yeah, that's going to be the case. That's going to take some time. You have to be super careful with that. Right, I'm going to get a PCB solder to the end of this. Catch you in a bit. Okay. I'm not going to lie to you, I've already tested it and made sure that the blade works. So I've loosely just put in a chassis, hit the power button, and then assembled everything together. Going to insert it and make sure everything connects nicely. And we've got a lip blade one side, Taking the chassis in, I haven't twisted it in properly. We've got a lip blade the other side. May not come across on the video, but there is the strips are still quite visible in terms of the light, where the actual pixels are. So what I'm going to do is, oh hello Austin. I am going to actually try and diffuse it with some paper. I'm going to wrap some paper around here, cut it to length, put it down there, and hopefully that should help diffuse it a little bit more so you can't see the individual pixels. Awesome. Right, one side's done. I think what I'll do, I'll take a breather now, get the dog sorted, actually get changed, and I'll come back to you with a fully assembled final crossguard hilt. Since one side is completely ready for me to glue down, I will try some paper in here, but then I'll just come back to you once it's fully done. Grand. Okay, I think I'm done mentally. Installing the side emitters, piece of cake, you know, dead easy. These bloody little pixel strips that go in here, pain in the bum. I had two that came dead. These are not from a Saber shop. I cheaped out and went to AliExpress and ordered 6. And it's a jolly good thing I ordered 6 because 2 of them dead and you need 4. So that ended up consuming. That's how mentally broken I am. That ended up consuming a lot of my time. Look, if you're going to get this installed, please, and you're sending it to somebody that don't know what they're doing, please send them my videos, and they've got to quote you accurately. Don't think you're sending this off and it's going to be a cheap install. This is going to take up some time to do. It's very well worth it in the end. I'm very happy with the result. Just to let you know, when I inserted the final strips that were working, I used a bit of diffusion film, wrapped it around the foam and inserted that down just to help diffuse it. In person, you will see individual lights, but the thing is, these aren't thick walls. These have to be very thin in order to suit the accuracy and the scale of the side emitters, the side vents, the side exhausts, whatever you want to call them. So you're not going to get best diffusion from the material, this plastic anyway. They have to be relatively thin, and the foam itself also has to be quite thin in its section as well. So you are going to see LEDs down there, but the important thing is to get this lit, and I just wrapped a bit of diffusion film around it. It helped a little bit, not dramatically. Naturally, you guys can find out for yourselves how much of a difference it makes, but these, you will be able to pick out individual pixels in. There's no way around it. That's what has to happen in order for this to be a thing. There we go. But I can gladly say, unless I do this video and then suddenly one pixel strip stops working inside one of these, of which I might just lose my mind. I'm going to be super careful with these because I do not want any reason for the pixel strips to stop working for some reason. I couldn't tell you the reason why the other 2 strips stopped working, or actually no, I take that back, didn't work. They had all the right resistors in the right places and everything, but wow, it's small connections and they just refused to work straight out of the box. And unfortunately I did the stupid thing and backed them onto each other and then went, oh well, why is this whole second blade not working? And then went through doing the connections, checking the connections, and you know, me even thinking, oh, something to do this. Lucky enough, the first blade worked rather nicely, so I was able to check connections there and know that it was working fine, and then peel them back off, try to get solder in a new strip, find that works, and still trying to figure out why the second one's not working, and peel that one off very carefully and put the other one back on and find out that works, the new one works as well. Yeah, it was these are quite painstaking bits of work to figure out, to get working, depending if your strips come functioning or not. So my biggest tip to you, when you get those little tiny 3.5mm strips, test them before you put them in, and make sure they work. That's however you do it, figure out your own method. Check that the strips are working before you put them together, or try and solder them to the PCBs, otherwise you might find they won't work. Anyway, that's enough of me ranting about my issues. Oh, we got there in the end. So, but I say this was actually easy, really easy. If you use my method of using one of these screws to hold in the emitter and PCB, it works really well. Using a grub screw as well, just to pinch onto the PCB holder in there as well through the threaded hole that is for the screw, everything will work really well. That's dead easy. That was dead easy. These are painful. Right, I always find wiring up blades to be a great big pain. Give me a hilt any day of the week. A blade, I always find there's a problem. Using this stuff as well, yeah, wasn't fun. Right, so I've discussed this a while ago, a long time ago. This is the very basic crossguard chassis. Now I have wired, to be fair, I've wired up all of my new chassis, so the B2 position is the second data line to activate the crossguards, to control the crossguards as to what they do. So let's plug in a battery, flick this on.
Things haven't been the same since the team split up.
Shove that in, twist and click in, and then I am going to drop this down here, hold it down, grab your Allen key, don't wrench it up too hard, you just want it to pinch, test it, happy with that, and then do the same for the other side. There we go. Grab the Allen key, give it a quick pinch, let's test it. It gets easier to just use the gesture controls and press the button. So we know that's working rather nicely. Look at that, that's better. I find my index finger works better than my thumb. My thumb's got a lot of soft skin, but if I use my index finger it's kind of hardened a little bit. There we go. Right. So with this configuration right here, what you can do if you haven't got the QD set up is you can just, I haven't clocked anything yet, so forgive me if this, oh no, well I guess it doesn't really matter on this model. Thread this on, nice and tight, and very nice. There we go. I think I might get a little bit of emission delay programmed in on that, on those side blades. Oh, my crocodile clip is probably showing right into frame. So, with this chassis as well, this is one specific for the crossguard extension. If you're going to do it, place that down very gently. You can. What if I put all the add-ons? I'm absolutely losing it. Those blades drove me insane. Right, this Crossguard extension kit that's designed to be used with the QD grip. What you can do is quick detach via my twist and click design the blanking cap, so there's no speaker as it stands at the moment. You grab your quick detach unit. This is going over the idea that you've already wired this up. This isn't too complicated, it's 2 wires. So what you do, you've got, I am losing my mind. You've got this nipple, got the nipple, you thread you've got your 2 pins here for your connection to the speaker PCB. I've got a micro JSJ connector here, small enough to fit through here. Push that down all the way. Spindle's got a thread on it. You may have seen this in another video. I could be boring you right now. You already know this. And then you thread the speaker unit onto there, like so. And you've got these giant windows in the side of your print to then connect up your, oh dear, I've made those wires super stiff. Connect up your speaker. Here we go, there we go. Right. So make sure I get it around the right way, don't try and force it. I'm doing it the right way, yeah. Okay, yes, no. There we go, little click. Put those wires back in. There you go, so that's, you can now disconnect that anytime you really wanted to. Cool. Stick your pommel onto the bottom here, like so. So now that is your speaker unit in the extension. You want to thread on this quick detach coupler onto the bottom of your grip, your main grip. And then you want to pick up your chassis, twist and click that in, like so. Thread this on, like so. Remove speaker pod out of the way. Connect this up, like so. And there we have the full Crossguard kit for the Survivor with quick extension chassis as well. Make sure everything's nice and tight. And there we have it. So, as I say, if you are sending this off to be installed, it might be a good idea to send them this video.
Select preset.
Oh, yes.
Directory not found. Directory not found. Directory not found. Directory not found. Directory not found.
Forgive me. Just bear in mind, if you're laying this flat, the button will protrude out if you haven't got your greeblies stuck on, and it will start selecting whatever your secondary option is. So let's see if I can just put this at an angle. There we go. So when I do my videos, I try to be as honest as possible, and I hope you can understand my honesty over this. I love it, but those side blades are painful to install. No word of a lie. If you're not comfortable, send it to somebody who's willing and a professional who can do it. Let them take control of it. Don't risk ruining your blades. If you've got time and patience, you can figure it out. You'll be able to do it. Make sure you've got the right tip on your soldering iron. Make sure you use the right solder. Make sure you use the right wires. On all of my chassis for this crossguard configuration, I put the resistor for the second data line in my chassis rather than try and put it in the housing up here, just to save a lot of space. There's always plenty of wiring space in my chassis as well, at least I think so. So hopefully I've covered a lot. I think I have. It has been a real pleasure to bring this one to you. I think we just had a very nice email. What am I talking about? My phone is recording me. I was looking for my phone. That's how far I've gone. I am absolutely shattered. So I just received a quick, lovely screenshot from Shane with a nice email from Johnny Griffiths. Thank you very much. I'm so glad you are over the moon with your hilt. Thank you for your kind words as well. And thank you anybody if you have anything nice to say about this setup and how far we've gone in trying to get this over to you. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for watching this. Thank you for all of your support. This is the most unique saber on the market at the moment, or at least the most unique one I've designed at the moment, and I am very, very happy with it. I still need to stick on my greeblies. I'll take some photos, I need to walk the dog, have dinner, and then relax for the evening. But there we have it. Right, I think I've babbled on enough. Go get yourself one with a Crossguard kit. Go do it. And we're still trying to figure out if, Shane's trying to figure out if we're doing another run of couplers as well. These QD couplers. Hopefully we are. Alright, thanks guys. I'll see you in the next video, which will be a breakdown of, hopefully, the Spectre 5. The KR Spectre 5, which we worked very hard on. There might be another video sometime or another in between. Who knows? Anyway, enough of me babbling. See you later. Bye.